Okay, what we're doing is for the next 3.5 weeks, we're actually going to bring you into the world of our training fighters. And contemporary martial arts here in Hartwell is known for training children, training fitness, as you see every day on Channel 31. But now we want to show you the other side of contemporary martial arts, where we actually train our fighters for full contact fighting, whether it be mixed martial arts that combines boxing, kickboxing, and wrestling and submissions, to just straight up boxing and kicking, which is basically what we call American kickboxing, or Muay Thai boxing, which uses knees and low kicks. So for the next 3.5 weeks, we're going to follow Ryan Peace, one of our local fighters here that lives in Hartwell, for his upcoming fight, his 4th fight, on July 14th in Augusta at Bell Auditorium. We're going to show you how he trains, do some interviews with him, and actually show the fight in the end of 3 weeks. And hopefully everybody will stay tuned and enjoy. And remember, if you've got small children watching, make sure you let them know these are trained athletes that train with me, and they don't go and use these techniques out in public. So little guys, if you're watching at home, don't practice on your brothers and sisters or your mom and dad. Make sure that if you want to train in martial arts, you come to Contemporary Martial Arts here in Hartwell, or find another school wherever you're closer to. But have fun watching for the next 3 weeks, because I promise you, these guys are going to be going through a lot of torture getting ready for this fight. Even the people who are helping Ryan fight are going to be working out as well. And then at the end of this 3.5 weeks, you're going to watch Ryan get in the ring and hopefully win his fight.
First fight was back in May. I was 16. First ever fight, extremely nervous. I mean, it was rough. The training and all was, I mean, you know, like a lot different it is now. As you keep, with every other fight, you just learn more stuff you can do, you know. Our first fight, we didn't have a lot of different exercises we did. It was a lot of the same thing over and over. And definitely didn't have a lot of people training with me my first fight like I do now. First fight, I ended up winning the decision, a unanimous decision, against another 16-year-old from Snellville, Georgia. Snellville, okay. Second fight, I fought last summer against a guy named Greg Hawkins. He was 22 from Tennessee. He was a lot shorter than me. I love fighting people that are shorter than me. I don't know, which is typically hard to find because I'm not a very tall person. But I ended up winning that fight by knockout in the first round. Referee had to stop it, or he asked the referee to stop it. Third fight, back in November, I was fighting the North American Teen Champion. His name is Nathan Key. Tough fight. I ended up losing the decision, and he was a tough kid. He was one of those tall, long arms, long legs guys, really hard to fight for a shorter person, and just straight up kickboxing. So it was definitely a tough fight for me, but I learned a lot from it. You know, you learn a lot from losing and winning. So really looking forward to this next fight, getting back in the ring. Next fight will be against a 28-year-old, actually from the same gym as the last guy I fought. So it should be pretty interesting.
A mixed martial arts fight is 5 minutes long for the first round, and usually amateurs do 3 rounds, 5 minutes each. For kickboxing or Muay Thai, which what Ryan's training for, is 3 2-minute rounds, and that's with 1 minute in between each round for a break. With Ryan's next fight, he'll be doing boxing and just low kicks. Normally Ryan's used to throwing knees to the body and knees to the legs, but this guy wouldn't take those rules. He wanted to fight just low kick with no knees. And since this guy's 28 years old, he's had 7 more fights than Ryan, and we're hoping that'll, you know, that even though he's got experience, we've got the youth, and he's got a good training camp here. We also train in Athens at the Hardcore Gym with a bunch of professional athletes there. So we're hoping to get a few sparring sessions in Athens before we go to fight in Augusta on July 14th. You wrap your hands because your hands aren't made to hit anything, and there's lots of little bones in the wrist and the hand. So when you do make impact without any wraps or your hands taped like fighters, then you could damage the bones and the cartilage in the hand. So before we do any kind of impact hitting, boxing, kickboxing, hitting the Thai pads or the boxing mitts, I make them wrap their hands so their hands are nice and tight. The bones are kept really tight together. Now we're going to shadow box. It's kind of like just a freestyle fight in your mind. Ryan's got an up-and-coming fight July 14th, so he's going to be picturing his opponent, and we've already watched video on him, on his opponent. So we're going to watch watch some more footage of him, obviously. But we're going to go on what we already know about him and go on his strengths and weaknesses. So Ryan's going to picture that as he's shadow boxing, and everyone else is just going to have their imaginary opponent that they're fighting. Okay? Circle, circle. Don't stay in one place. Move across the floor. Jab across the floor. Catch and counter. Block and move. Good. Hands up. Breathe out. Recover quick. Hands up. Combos. Get him up against the cage. Those are punches. Get him up against the cage.
All right, you have mixed martial arts, which combines your Muay Thai, your American style kickboxing, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, and pretty much every type of martial art you can think of, and you just put it all together when you're in the cage or the ring or wherever you're fighting. Muay Thai by itself is a form of kickboxing that formed in Thailand. You use American style kickboxing, you just use your hands and your feet. Everything's above the waist. In Muay Thai, you use your hands, elbows, knees, feet, and pretty much anything that can inflict pain. And you can throw, unlike American style kickboxing, you can throw strikes to the knees, below the, not the knees, sorry, below the waist. That's pretty much the biggest difference. I'll be fighting more like the Muay Thai style. You got to be 18 years old to fight MMA. That's just the rules with commissions around here.
Add cross, jab, jab. Get that right back quick. Good, good, sit. Nice power, good power. Jab, cross, lead left. Okay. Whenever you're training for a fight, there's, even at the amateur level, there's always going to be injuries, and you just got to learn how to train with the injuries and train smart with the injuries, not just, out there doing as hard as you can with a small injury would make that injury become a serious injury. So we're training smart. Even though it's feeling better today, we're wrapping it pretty tight so we can throw more kicks today. Yesterday we didn't get to throw any kicks, and that's pretty much his forte, even though his hands are looking really good, his boxing. And that buzzer's really loud. But we're going to try wrapping it a different way. It was hurting his arch, so we're going to try wrapping it a different way so we can go ahead and finish one more round of jump rope. Make sure you don't combo and fade back. Throw a combo and cut the angle. All right, if you fade back, you're gonna have it. You rush it. 4-3. Nice. Step forward, there you go. Step on it. That's it. Step on the left. Heel up in the back. Heel up in the back. Jab, jab, hook, cross. So look, the same hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? But after every kick, look, if he hits, punch. If the last punch is with this hand, that means he kicks it this way. Okay? Got it? So, jab, jab, hook, cross. Don't slide that foot. Hands up. Come on, stay with it. Come on. Hooks. Reach for it. Good, get your elbows behind. Come on. Hook hard on the button. Come on. Right hook hard on the button. Huh? the object of training is to make sure that whether they win the first round knockout or at the end of 3-round decision, that they say they can do more, that their training was way tougher than the fight. My job is to make the fight 10 times tougher than any fight they could possibly be in. To know their opponent so we can train specifically for them, and then train for everything because obviously the opponent's getting better, but also too, to make sure that their training is so rigorous and tough at the end of their fight, whether it's a first round knockout or 3-round decision, they look at me and say, I could have done more, that was way too easy, can we go another round, or can I have another opponent? So that's my ideal thing as a coach, is to make sure their conditioning is so good that they can outlast their opponent. Even if their opponent is way better, they can outlast conditioning and beat them in the long run. All right, what we're going to do now, Ryan has an injury on his right ankle. He rolled his ankle yesterday sparring. We were fighting pretty hard with one of our heavyweights, and Ryan threw a head kick and rolled his right ankle. So we got it taped up heavy today. I don't want him sparring heavy again today because I don't want to risk another injury, even though we've got a few weeks out before the fight. So what we're going to do is what we call flow sparring, where you get to throw combinations and you're landing, but you're not really trying to do a lot of damage. You're just trying to get that combination in your head. This also teaches timid fighters to keep their eyes open instead of closing their eyes right at the impact. So this is called flow sparring, very light contact. I'm going to focus a lot on their guard, their hands up, focus a lot on combination instead of one hit stop, one hit stop. And again, you people at home, please, especially you children if you're watching, no sparring, no fighting. The only time I allow our karate students to spar is when they're under my supervision here at the karate school. So keep that in mind, mom and dads, if you're letting your children watch this. Your glove on him once, one more time. Chin down, chin down. Good, good, Wes, fight out of it. Nice. Yeah, jab. Keep that right up, keep your right hand up. What's the reach, Josie? Good. Hands up, keep your hands up. Right after a left kick. Come on, Josie, keep him, there you go. Keep him going, Josie. Keep working at reach. Wes, look, don't turn into it. Throw the kick, don't turn away from it. Whenever you kick, sit, turn into it, okay? Because you're not, the way it frogs here. When you do that, it'll just knot up. I know you see it coming because every time he starts to kick, you turn it. So I want you to, instead of turning it this way, I want you to turn it into it. Don't throw a lot of them. Hands up, Ryan. Hands up. There you go. Work the body. Good. Get in with that blitz. Once you get in there. There you go. Good, good. Good. Get that left up, Josie. Get that left up. Come on. Good control, Wes. Good control. Circle. Box him in, box him in. Get in close, you can throw some hands on him, Wes. Throw right hands because he's got no helmet. Try to block that kick. Don't let him kick in the center. Move, angle. Get him up against the cage. Get up, hands up, hands up. You gotta circle out now, hook out. Keep him at the end of your leg. Good, keep him at the end of the leg. Keep him at the end, keep him at the end. Use that back leg, Teep, sometimes. Good. Keep him at the end of it. Hands up, hands up. Throw hands now, Wes. Good. When you get inside, throw hands, Wes. Chin, chin. Keep him away from me. Side kicks and teeps. Side kicks and teeps. Side, come on. Circle. 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 Good. Pressure, pressure. Keep his back. Good. Keep his back against the cage. Don't let him get close to you. Frustrate him. Good. Frustrate him. You spin his side kicks every now and then if you have to. Watch your toes when you're kicking that. You don't want to hit that turn. Those little buckles. Good. Hands up, hands up. Come off the cage with a front kick too. Good. Good. Hands up. Keep throwing that leg. Keep working. Keep working. Don't let him get close. Keep working. Good circle. Wes, come this way. Block him off. Block him off, Wes. Go side to side, Wes. Good. There you go. Hands tight. Hands tight, man. Hands tight. Good. Good sharp fist punches. Good. Good. Good job. Good counter. Combination counter, man. Combination to the counter. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Good. Good. Push him, Wes. Come on. Crowd him. Crowd him. Crowd him. Crowd him. Crowd him, Wes. There you go. After, take it and throw it. Good. Take it and throw it. Take and throw it. Take and throw it. Hands up, hands up. Take and throw it, Wes. Take and throw it. Don't let him get that close, Ryan. Hook out, hook out, hook. We get deep, deep. Good. Deep. Frustrate him. Don't let him get close. Don't let him. Don't let him. Come on, Ryan. Hands up. Good. Keep walking toward him, Wes. Keep walking toward him. Keep walking toward him. There you go. Hands up. Take it and hit him, Wes. Take it and hit him now. Good. Circle, circle. Don't let him off. Keep him there. Keep him there. Go. Keep him on the ropes. Let's go. Come on, Wes. Come on, Wes. You have something. Come back with a high hook to the head. Ryan, throw that body shot. Good, Superman. Pressure. Pressure, pressure. Go. Pressure, pressure on him. Pressure, pressure. Circle out. Hook out, hook out, hook out. Hook out, Ryan. Stay there, hook out. Circle right, hook right, hook left, hook left. There you go, drill that body shot again, drill it, drill it. Too close when you drill it. Get that arm all the way out. Keep body shot, right body shot, go hard. There you go. Stay far away from drill again, drill that body shot, drill it, hard, hard. There you go. Keep your left time, that's it. Keep your left time when you drill that body, come on. Good. Nice. Come up to the head, too. Good. Now you, come on. Good job, Ryan. Keep walking forward. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Go now, go now. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Push off, step back. Hands up, hands up. You get your back turned, throw a spinning side kick. Good. Good, take pressure, pressure. Don't hold, punch, don't hold, punch, 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 punch. Keep that, circle, circle. Good, good. Jab out, Ryan, jab out, jab out, jab out, jab out. Good. Good exchange, that's what I want every time, go. Good, go forward, come on. Come on. Pressure, pressure, no hold, punch, no hold, punch, 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 Ryan, punch. Good circle, jab out, jab out, jab out, jab away, jab. Good. Whenever you're training a fighter, you got to find what motivates that fighter to train. Because sometimes in training, as you can see behind me, you have to give them workouts so they have to dig deep and search inside themselves to finish and get through and make it very difficult. Because even though, as a coach, you're training that fighter, you're not in the ring when they're fighting. So you have to make them find that something to motivate them during the fight to dig deep even when they're hurt, when the round's not going their way, to finish the round, to finish the fight. And part of the ways to do that is to know your fighter really good. I've had Ryan since he was in 2nd grade. I've had Ben since he was, or known Ben since he was in kindergarten. Wes, I've known him since high school. He's in his late 20s now. So I know all these fighters personally, so I know what motivates them and how to pull the strings and when they're getting burned out, when to stop the workout, when to say, you know what, just take the day off and rest. I know when they're injured and they're not telling me, things like that. So it's really good to know your fighter. And part of what motivates a fighter, as opposed to a coach, motivating a fighter is music and what we listen to. Sometimes fighters want to listen to country music, sometimes fighters want to listen to rock music, sometimes it's hip hop. So whatever music motivates that fighter, we crank it up in the gym. Because I've got one fighter who actually paints his fingernails and toenails before a fight just to change his persona, because he's a nice guy during the week and at his job, but when he's training or when he's fighting, he's very serious and he takes on a different persona, a different personality, and he's very cranky to be around during the fights. The only person he's really cordial to is me, and his wife hates that, but after the fight, he's back to normal and everything. And Ryan, even though he's got a fight coming up July 14th, he's not to that cranky point yet. When he's trying to lose a little bit of weight, maybe the week before the fight, especially the day of the fight when we're having to cut back some water, he's pretty cranky and pretty just whiny a little bit, wanting his food and his water. But after the weigh-ins, he's back to normal, gets to eat, which is his favorite thing to do besides martial arts. So, and that's pretty much what motivates a fighter, just being a good coach, knowing what motivates them as far as music or clothing or anything before a fight. So I usually ask the fighters, you know, what kind of music do you want to listen to? You know, would you rather work out in the morning, afternoon, night? I kind of work my schedule around them to keep them very pumped and very excited about the fight.
I'm more into the kickboxing because my ground technique, not really up there. Par, Ryan and Broadus and Wes and Chuck and all them. I hope to fight in about a year from now, hopefully by the end of the next school year. I train about 5 days a week, come up here on some Saturdays, but not too many, but usually just 5 days a week, about 3 hours a day.
Going into my next fight, I feel that I'm going to be in much better shape than I've been in my other fights. Just as I was talking about earlier, we keep bumping the training up. Training gets tougher and tougher with every fight. And I believe my next fight, I'll be in better shape than I am for this fight. It's just going to keep building up. You have to do that. My technique, of course, it's like anything else. The more you practice, the better you're going to get. So being in here 5 days a week, doing those techniques over and over, they're going to get better. They have to get better. That's part of practicing. So my technique, strength, I've built up a lot from my last few fights. Speed and agility I've been working on. So I'm just everything, all my attributes and everything I'm trying to make better and better through each fight.
I think Ryan keeps training the way he's doing. He's already in great shape as far as his technique, his power. I think he's going to do really great. He's fighting a guy my age, smaller than me, and I have to stop halfway through rounds because of leg kicks and just the shape he's in. So I think he's going to do really well.
Well,
as soon as you find out who you're fighting, you're automatically thinking about what they do. I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? Tendencies they have. So when you go to bed at night, while you're laying in bed getting ready to go to sleep, you're thinking about that. You're imagining the fight. You're in the fight. I mean, you're fighting the fight before you fight it. To get that. When you're eating, I mean, anytime you have just chill time where you're daydreaming or anything, it's just always running through my mind. And of course, right now, I don't try not to think about it too much because you can get burnt out, and you'll just, when you get there, you just won't want to fight because you've thought about it so much. But especially the last 2 weeks when they come close, you're just constantly, it's on your mind, it's on your mind. And then the last week, you have to, that's when you have to start dieting and water. You have to drink, 2 weeks before my fight, I have to drink a gallon of water a day. And it just flushes my body out. I can't eat a lot. It sucks. It's the only part about this sport that I do not like because I love food. I mean, I love food, so that's about it.